She will be okay.
But she won't remember I have powers?
It's for the best.
After years of waiting with almost no real updates, Frozen 3 has finally taken a major step forward. Disney officially confirmed the sequel back in 2023, but since then, fans have mostly been stuck with release dates and the occasional rumor instead of actual production news. Now there's finally something that suggests the movie is moving beyond planning and into real development. It doesn't reveal the story or show any footage, but it's the strongest sign yet that the next chapter is actually coming together. It has been 7 years since Frozen 2 arrived in theaters, and by the time Frozen 3 releases, the gap will be even longer. That's a massive wait for one of Disney's biggest franchises because the first two movies became global hits, earning billions at the box office while selling a ridiculous amount of merchandise. Even though fans never really stopped talking about Elsa, Anna, and Olaf, Disney stayed surprisingly quiet for a long time. The company eventually confirmed another sequel was happening, but confirmation alone wasn't enough to satisfy people who wanted proof that work had actually started. Disney CEO Bob Iger officially announced in 2023 that Frozen 3 was in development. That announcement ended years of speculation because many people assumed another movie was inevitable after the financial success of the first two films. Still, announcing a sequel and actually making one are two different things. Development on animated movies usually takes years, so the project entered another long stretch with barely any meaningful updates. The current release date is November 24, 2027, which means Disney is giving the production plenty of time. Originally, the movie was supposed to arrive on November 25, 2026, but Disney pushed it back by an entire year. Delays usually make fans nervous because they sometimes point to production problems, although that isn't always the case. Animation is an incredibly slow process since every scene has to be carefully planned, designed, animated, and polished before it reaches theaters. Rushing that process rarely ends well, so giving the filmmakers more time could easily benefit the final movie. Jennifer Lee is returning once again to direct the franchise she helped build. She co-directed both previous Frozen films, so her involvement gives the sequel some consistency. This time, she'll be sharing directing duties with Trent Corey, who has already worked on Disney animation projects and is now stepping into a much larger role. Keeping Lee involved also suggests Disney wants the third movie to maintain the same emotional style and storytelling that made the first two films successful, instead of handing the franchise over to a completely different creative team. The biggest update actually came from someone fans already know very well. Josh Gad, the voice behind Olaf, posted a picture on Instagram that immediately caught people's attention. In the photo, he's holding a plush version of Olaf while raising 3 fingers, making it pretty obvious what he's referring to. Standing beside him are Jennifer Lee, Trent Corey, and producer Christina Chen. Behind them is a whiteboard covered with Olaf sketches, which makes the image feel less like a casual visit and more like a real production meeting. Gad also added a simple caption that read, "Third time is always the charm," followed by a snowman emoji and the words, "Time to build another snowman." He also included the hashtag Frozen3. On its own, that doesn't officially confirm production has started because Disney hasn't made that announcement yet. But when one of the movie's main actor posts a picture alongside both directors and the producer inside what looks like a working production space, it's difficult to see it as anything other than a strong signal that things are finally moving. Even though Disney hasn't specifically said recording sessions have begun, Gad's post makes the possibility seem very likely. Voice recording is one of the early stages of animated filmmaking because the performances often help shape the animation itself. If recording is already happening or even about to begin, that means the screenplay is probably in solid shape and production has reached an important milestone. After several years of waiting, that's exactly the kind of update fans have been hoping for. The timing also matters because the movie needs to stay on track for its 2027 release. Animation schedules are complicated, and every delay can create bigger problems later. Since Disney already pushed the movie back once, getting production moving now makes it much more likely that another postponement won't be necessary. Nothing is guaranteed because animated movies can still run into unexpected challenges, but this update definitely points in a positive direction. Another major development happened only a few months earlier, although it had nothing to do with the story itself. Reports claimed that Josh Gad, Kristen Bell, Arendelle and Idina Menzel signed enormous contracts covering both Frozen 3 and Frozen 4. According to those reports, each actor will earn around $60 million across the two films. That's an incredible amount of money, and it reportedly makes them the highest paid voice actors in animation history. Those massive salaries also reveal something important about Disney's confidence in the franchise. Companies don't hand out deals that large unless they expect huge returns. Frozen has already become one of Disney's biggest brands because it isn't just about movie ticket sales. There are toys, clothing, books, theme park attractions, music, and an endless stream of merchandise connected to the series. Investing heavily in the main cast makes sense because their voices have become inseparable from these characters. Kristen Bell will once again return as Anna, while Idina Menzel is coming back as Elsa. Jonathan Groff is also expected to reprise his role as Kristoff, and Josh Gad naturally returns as Olaf. Bringing back the entire core cast avoids one of the biggest problems sequels sometimes face. Audiences have spent years connecting these voices with the characters, so replacing anyone would have felt distracting, especially after two hugely successful movies. As for the story, Disney isn't saying much. Almost every major plot detail remains completely secret, which isn't unusual. The studio tends to keep its animated movies under tight security until much closer to release because surprises play a huge role in marketing. That probably won't change immediately, although fans could start hearing more concrete information sometime later in 2026. Once the movie gets closer to release, Disney will likely begin revealing trailers, character posters, and story details to build excitement. Until then, fans have filled the silence with a bunch of theories. One of the biggest ideas is that Hans could return. After serving as the main villain in the first Frozen, he completely disappeared from the spotlight. Bringing him back could create an interesting full-circle moment because there's still unfinished history between him and Anna. Whether he returns as another villain or in a completely different role is anyone's guess. Another popular theory suggests Anna could somehow develop magical powers of her own. Elsa has always been the sister with supernatural abilities, while Anna represented ordinary courage and determination. Giving Anna powers would completely change that balance. Some fans love the idea because it would give both sisters similar abilities, although others think it would undermine what made Anna unique in the first place. Her strength has always come from her personality rather than magic. If that's the plan, Frozen 3 may end on a much larger cliffhanger than either of the previous movies. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.